This is a GTX 1060 Ti that I found on Wish.com, and I'm actually going to go through and buy this. Now, a couple things to point out. First off, NVIDIA never made a GTX 1060 Ti. There was a 1060 with its 3 different variants of video memory, but there was never a Ti version. Now, for the 1660, we saw the 1660 and the 1660 Ti, which both came out in the latest generation of, I believe, the NVIDIA Turing architecture. So what we're looking at now is basically something advertising something that doesn't exist. So anyway, I'm going to buy this to see what actually I can have in the mail. But for the most part, I just want to scroll down and point out a couple things. Where this BS gets even more interesting is the fact that this is advertised as a popular edition graphics card. The chip model is a GTX 1060 8GB, which, as I mentioned earlier, there was only 3 variants of the video memory capacity. You had a 3GB model, which was available in the US and pretty much everywhere. You had a 5GB model, which was only available in China, well, not really China, but overseas in the Asian market for some of these cyber cafes and some of the gaming cafes. And then we had something even farther. We had the 6GB variant, which was, of course, also available pretty much everywhere. Now, what I want to point out, though, is the fact that this is 8GB. 8GB was never made. It was clearly not something that existed. Only the 1070 and the 1080 came with 8GB of memory. So as you can clearly see, this is advertising also something that physically does not exist on the planet. So just a couple other things to point out, though. Graphics card slot, you have PCI Express. Doesn't say what type it is, X16, etc. Not really a big deal. Interface HDMI. Now, I want to also point out a couple things on this card. As you can clearly see, some of the stuff that it's clearly advertising the 1060. It's saying that the memory frequency is 8. You've got now it's showing that it's 6, but it's saying it's 8 down here. Also, another thing to point out, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there is a VGA. That clearly a VGA on the side. VGA was actually not supported back up. It was pretty much only the 500 series of the GTX cards really supported VGA. So seeing a VGA automatically means we're not getting a 1060. We're not getting anything probably from the last couple of years. So I think that this will be something a little bit more interesting as well. So let's just go through, and I'm going to go through and buy this. It says that it's going to take probably a couple weeks to get here. My $50. So if you're unfamiliar, the last video I did, I paid $40. $50 this time. Hopefully this will also pay off as well. But I'll get this card, and we will see how it goes. Hello, welcome back. It has been probably about a month now, and this finally has arrived in the mail. I actually bought this back when the original video that I did of this one, the one with the 1080 Ti for $50, actually was getting popular. So it's been a bit. First off, I just want to make a quick comment. It does feel like there's a graphics card in here. I also feels like the I/O part of it has actually bent. So that can be or I guess you can kind of figure that out by the fact that this is literally wrapped in a bag. If that shows you the quality and the concern for like the quality of the product, then that should tell you something. So, I don't even know if I want to open this. I hope I at least have a working card, because I'm going to be super pissed. I don't even think we have drivers in here or anything like that. Okay, let's just see what we got, shall we? I don't think we're going to even get drivers if we're lucky. What do we get? Oh yeah, this looks like problematic already. We didn't even get drivers. They didn't even try for this. So this wrapping already looks weird, and I can see that the I/O is bent as I predicted. As you can see, bent. I mean, you wrap it in a bag. Oh yeah, look at this. Look at this. Some of this damage is insane. When you wrap it in a bag, it came already damaged. At least the I/O looks good. Oh, dude, look at some of this damage. Holy crap. I don't even know how far you'd have to drop it in order to get that to happen. So, that's the card itself. Surprisingly, I think the cooler looks somewhat okay. Somewhat okay.
At least it doesn't look like the last one that was literally like a broken card. Second of all, this is really beat up. Like, we're talking, this thing is so bent, and like, this is not something I can bend back easily too. This is like, this was chucked around. So surprisingly there, that is $50 for a GTX 1060 Ti 8GB. So I'm gonna real quick disassemble this and do a quick teardown to see if they were smart about, you know, sanding down the die, or they just left it how it is. So let me just real quick disassemble this. So this reads GP 106-400, which, going over my computer real quick, shows that's what a GTX 1060 3GB is. Now it's not 8GB, but yet each of these little RAM modules are printed as 1GB modules, where things are starting to get odd. So obviously the fact that the die itself is still printed as what a 1060 should be, clearly it's not. No 1060 has this output. We've got to do a little bit more digging. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a computer. Hopefully I don't have one that I care too much about. And let's see what happens when we boot this up and try to get something running off of it. I'm going to tell you right now though, the amount of PCIe usage that we have from this connector is not a lot, so I'm willing to put some money down. It's not a 1060. So I'm going to put this all back up, screw this all together, see if I can actually fix some of this damage, and we will see where we go from there. Real quick, this support bracket, by the way, I've been trying to, for like the last 5 minutes, trying to bend this back. I don't know how much pressure had to be applied to the support bracket in order for it to bend like this. I'm serious. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a super strong dude or anything, but I mean, this sucker takes a good bit of work. I think I was able to get most of the cosmetic damage. I mean, there's a couple busts and I guess scratches, but for the most part, I think I was able to bend almost everything back to how it was. And luckily, nothing actually broke off the card. It looks like we do have some damage on the side of the PCB, but it looks like they're generous about what they gave us for the PCB, and we don't really have anything over there. So now let's plug this in the computer, see what we even get. When you plug in an HDMI cord, the fan starts spinning. Like, what kind of thing is this? Is it supposed to be that, like, when you have it in the computer, it does nothing until the point where it has, to make it look like, to the point where it has input, and then it starts spinning? Like, I think the trick was the card doesn't work, and if the card doesn't work, then you plug in when the HDMI gets plugged in, it acts like it's working. See, it works. We're plugged into the potato, and it still works. So I'm gonna figure out how they have this wired up. This is a little setup that I'm gonna show you something that is completely mind-blowing on this card. So first off, I have a multimeter here. What this does in the simplest sense is tells us how much current is flowing through these two little connectors. Now, I'm not that far into my electrical engineering degree, so therefore, please, all those electrical engineers out there, don't judge too much. This is very rudimentary. So, for the most part, I just want to point out a couple things. Number one, we have the fans that are powered, obviously need to be powered when the card boots up. That is expected. They need to be controlled directly through the CPU or the GPU itself and some parts of the GPU to directly control how fast these fans spin based off the temperature. I get that. That should be decided, right? But instead, these fans are designed to spin no matter what. These fans will spin if you have a input plugged in, nothing else. They will spin if they have power on the PCIe lane. They will spin regardless. There is no intelligent design in this. This is pretty much a classic little circuit. I could do this in about 5 minutes with no experience in electrical engineering whatsoever. You just put a battery on a motor and you have yourself a working GTX 1060 Ti. So really, what's so amazing about this is I have this card set up right now. I'm gonna go plug in an HDMI cord. I'm gonna just go plug it in. We have an HDMI cord. I'm gonna plug this in. As you watch, this is powered by my monitor. these fans start spinning. So regardless of where this power is coming from, if I were to plug it in a second I'll show you, to any of these inputs, the card itself would turn on, the fans would spin, but it's not plugged into anything. There is no intelligence to this. This is just a very elaborate, extremely crazy card that is just a scam. And it's just so simply blatantly obvious on how much of a scam this is. I'm gonna have to check all my hardware now. I hope I just didn't blow that system up. So not only is this designed to be a suicide card, not only is this designed to be a card that will just give the appearance of working while it fries your system, this is a card that is pretty much malicious in design and is designed to give you the appearance of working when in reality it is tearing or frying pretty much your system or short-circuiting your system. And as I feared, the graphics card has fried the entire computer. So I've got to sit down and figure out exactly what's salvageable and what's not. But the entirety, probably the motherboard, graphics cards that wasn't in there, but majority of the hardware here is probably going to have to go to the trash. So there's no, yeah, I've sat for like an hour trying to fix this. It's clearly that this card was designed to fry, and I guess a lot of the sellers that are probably making a penny off of this have designed this to fry any person's computer that gets this. And I think that two reasons why you need to share this video. Number one, to raise awareness that do not get this, because not only will you not get what you paid for, but you have something that fries your computer, breaks your computer. That is not acceptable, and that needs to be well known, is that this will break your computer. This will. And if you buy this, it will. So, you know, two things. Wish should, A, probably step up and say, either make it right, but also make it right for the people that bought this and had, there was other people that had bought this card. This should have implications for them too, because I have extra computers. It's not the end of the world. I mean, I'm pretty bummed because this was a nice system. This was a budget system. I didn't actually pay a lot of money for, but it was a nice system. And I mean, I have plenty of others, but you get the point. You don't want to lose hardware. And I was not expecting something to maliciously damage people's computers. That was not what I was expecting. I was expecting a scam, not something that was designed to break people's computers. So, what does this mean going forward? Well, first off, I think these sellers, whoever they are, whoever they're selling, whoever they're trying to hide out, have now realized that people are onto them. They realize that they're not going to be able to continue to, scam people out of buying expensive cards for what they're actually not worth. I think that they've decided that they're going to start producing damaging products that actually break your computer. And I think that that is at the point where this should be extremely well known, that this will break your computer. This video, in my right mind, would be shown to everybody, even if I didn't make a penny, so that you know not to buy this. Because, as I said, this hardware, I have another system, actually I have a couple. This is not the end of the world for me. I'm disappointed. This was a decent system. This was like my test VR system. But for everyone else, this may not be. This may be their main computer. This may have been the upgrade that they've been saving up for if they were little and they were like, hey, I really wanted to upgrade my computer to a gaming computer. And now look, they fried their only computer. So, the point of today's video is, if you haven't shared this, I'd ask that you do so. Also, if you need any other verification that this actually happened, please contact me, because I will surely give it to you. If you need I don't know about lending out the card, but if you want to come stop by and test the card, see for yourself, by all means. Yeah. I would say it's crazy that this was totally a different turn than I expected. No drivers, a normal looking card specifically designed to break people's hardware. Wow.